Really? Really? Another body for the SCX24? What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. That's right, I don't know if it's all these other SCX24 builds that's been going on, or maybe the scale bug just bit me, or who knows, but we're building another body for the SCX24. This one's a completely 3D printed body. It's the K5 Chevy Blazer. I found this model online and I really liked it and figured I could scale it down to fit the SCX24. So the Suburban body will now be gone. You can see that the wheelbase is already lengthened, but you can see that this body is pretty big, especially compared to the Suburban body. I mean, look at the difference in wheelbase. You can see how much bigger it actually is. The issue is I really want the tires to fit inside the fender wells. I don't want them to stick out past the body of the car. So when I scaled this body to fit the SCX24, I scaled it based on the width and left the length just like it is, and I'll extend the wheelbase. You can see the width fits pretty well, but if you look at that wheelbase is way off. We're gonna talk about that in a second though, how I'm gonna fix that. First, let's talk about the body. So I found the files for this body on Thingiverse. I'll put a link in the description below for any of you who might be interested in this. There's multiple files that come with it. The complete body comes with it, as well as the body split into 6 pieces here, and that's how I printed it. I have an Ender 3, so I can't print the whole body in one. So it's printed in 6 sections here. The only thing, the labeling on the body, part 5 and 4 were mixed up. This is actually part 5 and this is part 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6. Should have been 4, 5, 6. Not a big deal though. Just something to keep in mind if you print this body. You can see I have it all taped together here. I never glued it together yet. Could probably see some of these gaps in here. I need to sand down the joints a little, make them fit better, and then we'll glue them together. I haven't decided what I'm gluing it with yet. Most of the time in the past, I've glued PLA with just CA glue, but being that this is a body and it may take some rollovers and stuff, I may look into other methods of gluing it and see what'll be best. Speaking of it being PLA, being that this truck is so small, I'm not really worried about anything stronger than PLA like ABS or anything like that. I know a lot of people print bodies out of ABS, but I think the PLA will be fine for this. The weight is actually not as much as I thought it would be. I was really worried about the weight, but my Suburban body here actually weighs more than the K5 Blazer here. I know this doesn't have an interior in it yet and all of that stuff, but I'm pretty impressed with how light this is. The files also include a grille and front and rear bumpers, which I haven't printed out yet. And I also noticed after I got this last final piece printed that there's some cutouts here for taillights, which is pretty cool. The SCX24 has headlights already. Now I could wire up some taillights as well. Not real sure on a paint scheme yet. I kind of want to go with something original like these trucks were originally painted. So a solid color and then that white down the side, or two-tone basically. It doesn't have to be white, but I'm thinking white down the side. We may or may not do an interior. It depends how I'm feeling about that. Part of me just wants to black out the windows and go with it, and the other part of me wants to be extremely scale and do a full interior on it. So let me know what you think down in the comments below and I'll make a decision on that. But like I said, obviously the wheelbase is not right for this body, so let's talk about what we're gonna do here. While doing some test fitting and mocking up, I actually installed the longer links in the rear of my SCX24 here. You can see it's actually too long for my Suburban now. But even with those longer links, we're still way off scale. I believe this body is closer to 1/20th scale instead of 1/24th scale now. So now we have to make the chassis fit that. That means I have to make some custom links. I'm gonna use a set of 3D printed rod ends that I do not have yet, but I'll have those soon. And I'll be using some threaded rod as well as some 1/8 inch stainless tubing to create my links. Originally, I was only planning on doing the front links to lengthen it. And now that I get this stainless rod in, I'm thinking it'll probably look really cool if I do both of them. I really don't want to have some nice shiny links in the front and some black links in the rear. So we're gonna go with both of those. And when I get those 3D printed rod ends, we'll make a video covering that process. We also couldn't leave the stock SCX24 wheels on it anymore. All the body builds I've done so far, I kept these wheels on it and they work, but I just don't think they're gonna fit this truck. So I went ahead and picked up another set of wheels and tires. I picked up the RC 4-wheel drive stamped steel 1.0 inch wheels, as well as the Goodyear Wrangler MTR tires. These tires are really scale looking. I really like them. They feel really nice. They're a little smaller than the factory tires, not much at all, but I'm really liking this look. I think it'll give it kind of that factory off-road, almost farm truck style look. Looking at it next to the body, I am worried that they may be a little small underneath there. I don't have another wheel set up, but we have another tire here. I'm worried that they may be a little small. If they are, I'll look for something else, maybe some 1.5 inch tires. I don't want to go huge, but I also want them to fit the body well. So obviously this is just a mock-up, but let me know in the comments down below what you think. Should I look for some bigger tires, or do you think these will work? And I think the last thing to cover with this is suspension. Now, with the Suburban body, I had to replace the springs on the original shocks because it's so heavy it was drooping down. These are springs actually out of a Pilot G2 pin, and they work pretty well for that body. It is pretty stiff, but they've worked well. I'm hoping this body will be a little bit lighter, and maybe we can use something else. I'm thinking about replacing the shocks entirely. I have a few ideas on that. I've been doing some research on that. But if you have an SCX24 and you've done some modification to it, I want to know what kind of springs you're running. Again, let me know in the comments below. What kind of shocks are you running on your SCX24 if you've done a custom build? And lastly, before we wrap this video up, as if a whole new body and suspension wasn't enough, that's not going to be it for this truck. We're going to up the scale factor, and I'm actually going to do something else that I think would be pretty cool. I'm gonna actually 3D print the back half of this K5 Blazer body. Again, this section here. And we're gonna make a plate for the front. We're gonna cut the top off, and we're gonna make a pop-up camper trailer. I have another SCX24 axle, and we're gonna build suspension and a tongue for a trailer, and we're gonna build a camper trailer to pull behind this thing. I think that'll look pretty sweet in the long run. It'll definitely make for some pretty nice shots out in the field. And I think it'll make for some cool video to see that camper following behind the SCX24 while it's crawling. So yeah, I know we had a lot of talking in today's video, not a whole lot of action. It took me a while to get this 3D printed body printed. I have probably close to 30 hours of printing just in this body every night, coming home after work and putting apart printing. But this part's done now. We can start working on the truck, and while I work on the truck, we can get those camper parts printed. Once again, I got bitten by the scale bug, the crawling bug. We're gonna build a new body for this thing again. Make sure to stay tuned if you're excited about this build and wanna see how it turns out. I know I am. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed and you think this K5 Blazer will look awesome on the SCX24. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos coming soon. And as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.